Located in the Vasteri Plains are the Marraketh, a culture of rich tales and brutal traditions who must do whatever it takes to survive in the desert. The highest position in Marraketh culture is a Sekima, and it is not a title given freely. All aspirants must complete the Trial of the Sekimas, a grueling gauntlet that will test their strength, will, cunning, and patience. To enter, a warrior of the Marraketh must prove their worth by trapping the soul of a jinn in a coin, and you are no different. Once you have earned your coin, it may be placed on the relic altar to begin the trial. In the Trial of the Sekimas, each room has its own challenges to overcome. In this room, each rare monster you kill will send its blood to the chalice in the center of the room. Once the chalice is filled, you will be able to proceed. While fighting monsters in the trial, you will need to be very careful. Each hit will not only hurt you, but will damage your honor. The monsters are well telegraphed, so that you can avoid their attacks, but if you run out of honor, you will fail the trial and need to find another coin in order to try again. It is a good idea to make sure that you are well prepared before challenging the Trial of the Sekimas. After each room, you will be rewarded. In this case, you have been given a key that can be used to unlock chests later in the trial. Once you have claimed your reward, you will be shown a map of the rest of the floor and may choose how you wish to proceed. Which challenges would you like to face, and which rewards do you want to claim? Some rooms are more dangerous, afflicting you with debuffs that will persist for the entire trial. For example, entering this room will afflict you with Spiked Shell that will cause all monsters in the rest of the trial to have 50% increased life. You will want to take care if you choose such a path. There are many different challenges and rewards as you journey through the trial. Deadly traps, waves of monsters, and strange artifacts will test your honor. As you progress, you'll be able to gain boons from the Jinn, which will help you on your journey. For example, the Sekima's cloak will revive you once if you die, giving you a second shot at a run. One of the rewards you may find is Sacred Water, an extremely valuable and treasured resource to the Jinn and the Marraketh. Trading it with the Jinn will allow you to receive many benefits. You can recover honor, gain additional boons, or remove afflictions. At the end of the floor, you'll find a powerful boss which will truly test your limitations. In order to ascend, you will need to defeat him. Having defeated the boss, you've earned the right to ascend, but first, the loot. The keys you have found may be used to open the various treasures in the vault at the end of the floor. We only have a single bronze key, so we'll just have to open one of these small chests. If you want to open the better ones, you'll need silver or gold keys. Let's use the Altar of Ascendancy. Your first ascension will allow you to pick your class and grant you 2 points to use in the tree. Now there are more floors and many more rewards that can be found within the Trial of the Sekimas, but we'll save that for the section on the Endgame. For now, let's talk about the second Ascendancy trial, the Trial of Chaos. In Path of Exile 2, you can choose whichever trial you like to earn your ascension. Each culture on Rayclast had their own methods to ascend. If the Trial of the Sekimas is not your kind of playstyle, or you're finding it too difficult, you could try another. You can gain all your ascension points from just one, or mix and match them. It's up to you. For early access, we will have 2 trials as options, with a 3rd trial coming later for the full release. While exploring the Vaal jungle, you'll discover the Temple of Chaos. Before the Vaal embraced the science of corruption, their civilization worshipped chaos. This ancient trial was once used by the Vaal to test their high priests. A high priest of the Vaal must show willingness to risk everything to gain power. Entry to the trial requires a token from a strange entity known only as the Trial Master. For those in which he sees potential, he shall inscribe an ultimatum. Many have attempted these trials in search of greatness. Most have perished. Will you be able to defy the odds? Before you begin each chamber, the Trial Master will offer you a reward and a choice. Choose one of 3 tribulations to affect you through the rest of the trial. These modifiers might beef up the monsters, curse the player, or add environmental hazards like turrets or trap runes. In this case, we will be picking shocking turrets. As you enter the room, the Trial Master will fill it with hazards to test your commitment. In this case, you must destroy all the monsters that fill the room, while dealing with the lightning projectiles from the shocking turrets. After each room, you will need to make a choice. Take the rewards you have earned so far, or go double or nothing. Increase your rewards, but take on more risk. Each tribulation you add is minor on its own, but they quickly stack on top of each other and can become overwhelming. There are many types of chambers in the trial. Each will test your resolve in different ways. This one simply requires you survive for a certain amount of time. Another requires you to escort the stone idol through the level as elevators full of monsters descend to attack you. Should you be able to get through the first 3 chambers, you will face your first boss. The order of the bosses is random, and combined with the tribulations you have selected, the fight will never feel the same. After defeating the boss, you may claim your rewards. Of course there are the items, but you also gain the right to ascend. If you already did the Trial of the Sekhmers, then you can claim 2 more points to add to your Ascendancy class. Now it's possible to go much deeper. There are more bosses, rewards, and risks to take, but we'll talk more about that when we get to Endgame. So how about we talk about that now? So far we've only been showing you footage from the campaign, but some people would argue that the Endgame is where the game truly begins. Something that happens almost every time a new action RPG launches is people saying, there isn't enough endgame content. Well, we want to make sure that in PoE 2 people don't feel that way, and we actually only changed our development priority for this recently. The first 3 acts of PoE 2 already take around 25 hours to complete if you're a new player. This is already a pretty significant campaign. On the other hand, people spend hundreds of hours in endgame each league. We realized that finishing the rest of the campaign for early access was actually a bad idea. Instead of having acts 4 to 6 in early access, we could concentrate on endgame and make that great. For new players, a 25-hour campaign is already a huge game with lots of content, but for existing action RPG players, what you mostly care about is all the endgame challenges to overcome. So several months ago, we switched the entire development team's focus over to making endgame content. At the start of early access, there will be 50 bosses and around 400 monster types, but the great thing is that the rest of the game is like 80% there. We'll be adding content to roughly double the size of the game during early access and into release. Now, in order to make the endgame happen at the same character level as what it would be after we added the rest of the acts, we've added a second difficulty level called Cruel, where you repeat the campaign with all the monsters and bosses leveled up, and of course new rewards. You can kind of think of it as like a new game plus. It's also a lot faster to get through the content the second time as your clear speed increases. That will take you to around level 65, where the endgame begins. Once we add the remaining 3 acts, we'll be removing Cruel difficulty, so you'll progress straight from the end of Act 6 to endgame. But what is the endgame? To explain that, I'll hand over to Mark. He can tell you all about it.
Hi, I'm Mark Roberts, Game Director on Path of Exile 2. Well, one thing that Path of Exile is known for is having a lot of distinct endgame content to choose between. Each endgame mechanic needs to have its own progression system, areas, bosses, rewards, and player power that can only be gained from that content. We are going to be adding a lot more over time, but for Path of Exile 2 we decided to start with 7 distinct systems you can progress through.
This is the Atlas, and it serves as the core of the endgame for Path of Exile 2. It's infinite and expands in all directions. Now, we are not going to spoil the plot too much here, but corruption from the beast has blighted the land, and your objective is to help fight it. In the center of the Atlas you will find the Ziggurat, a temple in which the Vaal research the fundamentals of space and time. Here, we can open portals to nearby locations and begin cleansing corruption and finding resources. In order to power the portal device, we will need waystones. Each waystone has a tier which will determine the level of the monsters that you will face. To go to an area, simply click one that is adjacent to an area that you have already completed. Insert the waystone and click Traverse. Portals will open, allowing you and your party to travel to the area you have selected. All the areas in the endgame feel distinct from the locations in the campaign, and we have dialed the randomization up to 11. The monster packs you will face in each map are totally random, and the combination of them can lead to some very interesting combat situations. There are over 400 monster types in early access, and they have a lot of varied and interesting abilities. Depending on which combinations you face, you might find some serious challenges. In order to cleanse the corruption from the area, you will need to defeat all the powerful rare and unique enemies in it. Once you have done that, the area will be marked as completed and you will be able to travel past it to progress deeper into the world. If you die, then the map can no longer be run and you will have to find another way around to get to the areas behind it. There are also all kinds of other random encounters you might run into as you play maps. One such encounter are precursor artifacts. These are ancient, corrupting monuments that irradiate the monsters around them. The monsters that feed off the corruption are drawn to their power. If you defeat the monsters and cleanse the artifact, you will get a powerful temporary buff. Some of the buffs make you faster, others rain lightning or fire around you, and some even give you increased experience or help you find better items. You can also find strong boxes. These enigmatic chests guard piles of treasure, but are always a trap. Monsters lie in wait to attack you the moment you open it, and the boxes often have mechanisms to unleash powerful spells or dangerous debuffs. There are different types of strong boxes containing different items, and you can even use your currency items to craft them on the fly, so you can optimize the contents. But be careful of opening one you can't handle. Sometimes you'll discover monsters frozen in essences, solidified crystalline corruption. These dangerous monsters can be broken free. If you defeat them, the essence they drop can be used to upgrade normal items to magic items with a guaranteed mod from a category. For example, we could use this one on some boots to ensure a movement speed mod. Rarely, essences will also drop that allow you to upgrade magics to rares, adding the guaranteed mod. This is incredibly powerful since it allows you to get a second deterministic mod in your crafting projects. Combining these with the currencies that are commonly found in Rayclast for modifying items, and we can get a very nice pair of boots indeed. Waystones, like all items, can also be crafted using your currency items. Adding prefix mods will improve the rewards, while suffix mods increase danger. The more dangerous a map is, the more waystones will drop. Adding mods to your waystones is key to progressing to higher tiers and sustaining them, but it will require you to take on larger challenges. There are a variety of factors you'll have to consider when crafting your waystones. Some maps will have higher density, some lower, some have more magic and rare chests, or monsters, some are more linear, and others more open. Make sure you explore and think about what makes certain maps good if you want to maximize your returns. As you cleanse corruption from higher and higher tiers of the Atlas, you will gain points that you can spend in the Atlas tree. This tree allows you to juice the danger and rewards of all areas in the endgame. You could increase the number of monsters, the number of rares, the number of precursor artifacts or strongboxes, even the quantity of item drops. As you explore the endgame world map, you'll notice various different biomes, from snow-capped mountains to dense jungle valleys. Most maps are restricted to certain biomes. As you continue to explore deeper into the Atlas, there are all sorts of things to discover. These cities are constructed by different peoples of Rayclast, and have specific items that can be found there. These strange structures marked on the map don't appear to do anything for now. Perhaps you'll work out how to use them later. You might find unique maps like Untainted Paradise, an undisturbed island full of beasts that give an extreme amount of experience. You may even find a lonely man just enjoying his retirement who will give you a unique item for free. In addition, you can find special areas that would make a good spot to set up camp. Clear these areas of their hostile inhabitants, and you'll be able to claim them as your own hideout. You can decorate your hideout as you see fit and invite various NPCs to join you there to create your own personal base of operations. A great tool for exploration are towers. These mysterious precursor constructs are dotted around the Atlas. Completing the tower will reveal a large area around it, allowing you to scout out your next challenge. There are lots of things to find, so keep looking. Some sections of your Atlas are influenced by corruption. This adds extra modifiers to the maps in the region, increasing difficulty and rewards. Here, slaying monsters in close proximity to each other will cause the vestiges of corruption within them to merge together, forming powerful and grotesque abominations. You may have noticed while looking at the Atlas that some of the areas have these icons above them. The icon indicates that the area contains some kind of special encounter. This icon indicates that the area has a powerful boss. Because only 1 in 4 maps contain a map boss, we are able to make them very powerful and very rewarding. These bosses come from the campaign, but have had their difficulty increased with changes to AI and some of their abilities. It's worth noting that because you can see where the bosses are, you can choose to take them on or avoid them. If you do choose to hunt bosses though, then you will be rewarded with special points for the boss hunting section of the Atlas skill tree. The points here will allow you to specialize in boss killing, giving you much greater rewards for defeating them. For each different type of content in the endgame, we are adding specialized trees in order to make it so you don't feel the need to respec your points when you change between different types of content. We will be showing you 7 of these by the end of this presentation, so there is still a lot more to come. Bosses are not the only icon you will see on the Atlas. Let's take a look at one of the endgame systems, Breach. If you played PoE 1, you might be familiar with Breach. For PoE 2, we have created sequels to several PoE 1 leagues. While the mechanic is familiar, the monsters, bosses, rewards, and progression are all new. A breach is a tear in the fabric of reality. Opening it will allow you to see the demons and otherworldly monstrosities that lie in wait on this other plane of existence. By engaging with a breach, you'll create a bridge between their world and Rayclast. In order to keep the breach open, you will need to kill the demons that pour forth. The faster you can kill the monsters, the more monsters you will fight, and the more loot you will find. You can also find clasped hands that will open and drop more items if you run over them. These can be a good boost to the rewards of the breach, so keep an eye out. One of the rewards that you may find while fighting monsters from Breach are tablets. Tablets are special items that can be used with precursor towers to add more encounters to the Atlas. Breaches will drop breach tablets. Clicking on a completed tower will allow you to consume the tablet to add more breaches to areas within range of the tower. This makes all the content in the Atlas self-sustaining. Want to do more breaches? Find the tablets, add them to your towers, get more breaches, getting more tablets. Soon your Atlas will be covered in otherworldly domains. In addition, like all items in PoE, you can craft them. Use your currency to add mods to your tablets, allowing you to upgrade all the breaches in range. Tablets can have up to 2 mods. These mods do things like adding extra rare monsters, extra clasped hands, or even monster density of breaches, allowing you to keep them open longer. Often you will find multiple towers near to each other with overlapping areas of effect. This can allow you to really juice the mechanic by stacking the mods from multiple tablets. In your fight to hold the breach demons at bay, you may want to use the powers of their world against them. Each endgame mechanic always has player power that can only be gained from that mechanic, and Breach is no different. In Breach you will find catalysts, items that can increase the quality of rings and amulets by improving specific mods. You can also find Breach Rings, a special base type that can have its quality improved by catalysts up to 50%. In this case, you could create a ring with around 170 life. Breach Rings can become some of the strongest rings in the game, giving you some good motivation to face the demon hordes. In addition, each endgame mechanic needs to have a Pinnacle endgame encounter. While killing Breach monsters, you may find Breach Splinters. Collect enough of these and you'll be able to create a Breach Stone. Using a Vile technology called the Realm Gate, you can use your Breach Stone to access their domain and bring the fight to them. In this twisted domain, you will find nothing but a single massive breach. Triggering it will reveal hordes of breach inhabitants. And should you be fast enough, you will be able to fight their leader, Zesht. We that are one.
We that dreamed. We in nightmare. We that are one. Fate belies truth. So they sun.
This is just one of the Pinnacle encounters of PoE 2. We won't be showing the rest of them, so you will have to discover them for yourself. But rest assured, this is some of the hardest content we have ever made. All these encounters have specific uniques that can only be found from them, but that's not all. We still have the progression system. Defeating Zesht will give you points to allocate into the Breach section of the Atlas tree. Allocating these points will make breaches and the Breach domain even harder, but will give you more rewards. The small nodes will increase the difficulty of the Twisted Domain, while the large nodes have more specific bonuses. For example, this node adds more clasped hands to your breaches, and adds a pack of magic monsters that can guard them. Get some more points and you can allocate Waking Nightmare, which will double the number of splinters you get from clasped hands, and inflict you with a mysterious debuff. In order to earn more points, you will need to defeat Zesht at a higher difficulty, and some rewards from Zesht can only be found by increasing the difficulty of the Twisted Domain above certain thresholds. Defeating Zesht at difficulty 4 will be a challenge indeed, but there are many more threats in Rayclast. Ritual altars are sacrificial sites built by the mysterious King in the Mists. If you encounter this symbol on the Atlas, then you know that the area contains ritual altars. Ritual altars demand tribute. Every monster you slaughter in the circle will feed the altar. After the sacrifice, touch it to begin the ritual. The monsters you just killed will be resurrected by the King of the Mist's dark magic, and you must fight to survive. The tribute you have offered to the altar can be spent to buy powerful items, but they can be expensive. To gain more tribute, you will want to find more altars. Each successive ritual you do within an area will spawn the monsters revived by the previous ones, in addition to the ones you sacrifice next to it. By the end of an area, you will be fighting a truly imposing number of foes, but will have a significant amount of tribute to spend. One of the rewards you can buy with tribute are omens. These are special items that allow for metacrafting. Crafting items that affect other crafting items. Have an item with good prefixes but bad suffixes? This omen will help you to remove the mods you don't want, while keeping the ones you do. There are a bunch more of these with different effects, but we will leave them for you to discover. Now don't forget that Ritual will also drop tablets, which can be used to specialize into getting more rituals. If you want to get to the Pinnacle boss of Ritual, then you will probably want to use them. They can also be crafted to grant mods, making your rituals more rewarding. The Pinnacle encounter of Ritual is the King in the Mists. Feared by the Asmeri people, he is said to have brought eternal darkness to the Wildwood. We won't show the encounter, but just like Breach, there are a range of unique items you can get for defeating him, and you will gain points in the Ritual section of the Atlas tree. Some maps have been touched by insanity. A mysterious entity has taken a special interest in you. Step through the looking glass and you will find your nightmares coming to life. When you touch a mirror, the mists of delirium will spread out across the area, infecting your mind. You must stay within the mist to maintain the nightmare, which is as profitable as it is terrifying. Everything you kill will increase the rewards that drop. However, the deeper into the mist you travel, the stronger the monsters are. Be careful not to overstay your welcome. Rare and unique enemies will become vessels for terrifying demons, who will manifest out of them to unleash powerful attacks on you. The mist also offers a strange crafting material, distilled emotions. By combining these emotions, you are able to instill your amulet with a notable from the passive skill tree. This is like gaining an extra passive point for free, attached to your gear. They are also particularly great because you don't have to traverse the tree to get them, allowing you to get off-class bonuses that would normally be much harder to get. Distilled emotions can also be used to instill your endgame maps, applying Delirious to them and adding additional difficulty and rewards, allowing you to further juice your endgame maps. The tablets you can find from Delirium can be used to further improve it, increase pack size, make the fog dissipate slower, or improve your progress towards the Pinnacle encounter of Delirium. Speaking of which, every now and then you will find simulacrum splinters. The mysterious entity will create strange encounters based on warped versions of your own memories. Monsters and simulacrums come in waves that get progressively more difficult. You will receive loot at the end of each wave, and you will have to make the decision to leave now or continue on, facing up against even tougher foes from the mist. The bosses you will face as you get deeper into a simulacrum are truly terrifying. If you can complete a simulacrum, you will gain points for the Delirium section of the Atlas skill tree. Next up, we have Expedition. Occasionally while clearing corruption, you will encounter these Kalguran settlers. The Kalgurans have discovered ancient burial sites with lost Verisium artifacts, and they want you to help dig them up with explosives. The Kalgurans have marked the locations where the relics can be found. Place explosives as best you can to dig up as many as possible. There is just one problem. Corruption has brought the corpses of their ancestors to life, so you might have to do a little cleanup before you can reclaim the artifacts. You can also find remnants, the destruction of which will further anger the restless dead. Each one you blow up will make the subsequent monsters more powerful, but also more rewarding. Danig, Rog, Tujin, and Gwenin will exchange the artifacts for useful items and runic magic. You can also find tablets to increase the number of expeditions and the rewards. This one increases the radius of explosives, while this one increases the number of remnants you will find. Eventually, you might discover a logbook. These are special maps full of buried treasure and relics, essentially one giant dig site. Here you can create an extremely long chain of explosives and go through a very high number of remnants. But be careful, many remnants have mods that can really brick your build, so you will probably want to avoid these ones. If you add too many remnants, you could easily make the encounter harder than you can handle. There are all sorts of interesting things buried under the ground in logbooks. You might find dripping caves and hidden pirate caches. But the most powerful encounter is Olroth, the ancient undead commander of the Knights of the Sun. Defeating him will grant you unique rewards, as well as points to spend in the expedition section of the Atlas tree. So those are the endgame systems on the Atlas, but we are not done yet. The trials we talked about earlier have much more content when you get to Endgame 2. Just like the other endgame systems, they also have progression mechanics, unique rewards, and player power that can only be gained from them. As you get higher level coins for the Trial of the Sycamores, you will unlock more floors to explore. Each floor has its own challenging rooms and a floor boss that you will need to kill. There are 4 floors in total, leading to another Pinnacle boss at the end of the last floor, which can only be accessed at Endgame. The Trial of the Sycamores is where you'll find jewels, which you can socket into your tree. These are like passives that you can craft with your currency items. They can be really powerful as they allow you to stack modifiers that may not be easily accessible on the tree normally. This jewel gives lightning damage and shock chance, for example. There are quite a few jewel sockets on the tree, so it's possible to gain a lot of power here. There are also other types of jewels that don't provide any bonuses themselves, but affect other passives surrounding them. This jewel increases the effect of small nodes and radius by 25%. With careful placement in the tree, you could get a significant amount of power from it. There are also unique jewels available with very interesting effects, but you will have to find those for yourself. In order to push further into the trial and uncover the secrets of the Maraketh, you will want to take advantage of its progression system, relics. Relics are items that can be placed in the relic altar as you start the trial. They give special bonuses that affect the trial, making it easier and increasing its rewards. Of course, you can craft these with your currency items, making them even stronger. If you can complete the entire trial overcoming all 4 floors, the final boss will reward you with one of many unique relics. These relics will be consumed when used on your next run, but can reward you with unique and powerful items. For example, this is the Last Flame. If you use it, you will have only 1 honor for the entire trial, so you will need to do a completely hitless run. The Trial of Chaos also extends into the endgame. As you gain inscribed ultimatums of higher and higher levels, the number of chambers that you can go through increases. In true Vaal style, this allows you to take even more risks for even more rewards. At endgame, you can progress through up to 10 chambers with 3 bosses on a single run. Stacking 10 tribulations on top of each other will make this a significant challenge, but it's worth it. The Trial Master will tempt you with items of the Vaal Empire, such as Vaal Orbs. Vaal Orbs are powerful crafting items that corrupt your gear with random mysterious outcomes. Corruption prevents an item from being modified further, so it has to be the last step of your craft, but it's also the most impactful one. For example, if you use one on your body armor, it might add a new powerful enchantment, or it might re-roll up to half of its modifiers. Vaal Orbs also have the ability to add a socket, allowing you to bypass the normal restriction of how many sockets an item can have. A body armor could get up to 3 sockets this way, allowing for a significant number of mods. Vaal Orbs can even modify uniques. Adding enchantments or sockets to uniques can make them incredibly powerful, but there is a good chance that you will break them as well. The Trial Master will also occasionally offer you soul cores. Originally formed by Chaos, the Vaal sought to replicate soul cores through human sacrifice rituals and blood magic to power their civilization. Soul cores are powerful socketable items, with mods that cannot be obtained from regular runes. Like all endgame content, there is of course a Pinnacle boss. The final chamber will drop keys to this mysterious door. Some say this is where the Trial Master himself resides. Perhaps you are willing to take the risk to find out. Had enough yet? Because there is still just one more thing. The most difficult content in Path of Exile 2. While mapping, you might come across this fortress that has emerged from underground, surrounded by an enormous maze riddled with danger. Is the maze preventing something from getting in, or something getting out? This fortress is of ancient origin, and its construction has similarities to the towers and tablets that you have been using on your journey through the endgame. It is clear from the entrance that there are 3 keys required to enter. Local factions are vying for access to the fortress in order to seize the power they believe will be inside. Each of the faction's leaders have managed to get their hands on one of the keys, so you will need to defeat them. Each faction is led by an Uber-Act boss. You can see one of them inhabiting the city, but in order to fight him, you will first need to defeat their 2 lieutenants in the adjacent zones. Be careful. If you fail against either of the lieutenants, or to kill the leader, they will move on, and you will need to find them again. Kill all the Uber bosses and you will gain access to the fortress. We aren't going to spoil it as we can't wait to see you guys attempt it for the first time. But is there a tree you get points in after killing it? Of course there is. This is Path of Exile. There is always another tree.
So these are your challenges for PoE 2. As you can see, this project is crazy huge, way bigger than even we expected when we started out. But how do you gain access? Well, during early access you'll need a key to get in. To thank our existing PoE supporters who have spent more than $480, we'll be giving you guys a key for the PC version for free. Anyone else who wants one can get one by purchasing one of the new early access supporter packs that have just been released to the store. If you just want early access to PoE 2, then you can get a key in the $30 early access pack. The pack also comes with $30 of points to spend in the MTX store. But we also have a variety of other supporter packs filled with exclusive microtransactions, points to spend in the store, and even physical items. The cosmetics can be used right now in PoE 1 and in Path of Exile 2 when early access starts. Most of this footage has been recorded in Path of Exile 1, since that's where you can use them immediately. The Lord of Ogham supporter pack contains a cosmetic armor set befitting of the Count of Ogham himself. There is also a matching back attachment which has an alternate variant depicting the influence of corruption. Also in this pack you can find a portal formed of the rusted armor of the fallen soldiers in the Red Vale of Ogham, and the offspring of a vicious Crowbell boss found in the hunting grounds. This one doesn't look so vicious though. On top of that you'll receive the Iron Count's Zweihander to apply to your one-handed or two-handed swords. For those who are wanting to decorate your hideouts with fond memories and tales of Path of Exile's history, you will also get a series of hideout statues. This pack contains the statue of Hillock. For Path of Exile 1's closed beta, each pack contained a true New Zealand icon, the Kiwi. Following this tradition, all packs in this series will also contain a new themed Kiwi pet. The pet will loyally follow you into battle, but run away at the first sign of trouble. Become the ruler of the desert with the King of the Farad'n supporter pack. Show your mastery of traversing the sands of the Vasteri Plains. The body armor will allow you to glide along the ground with ancient sand magic. Now each armor set comes with body armor, boots, gloves and helmet, but the boots are covered in sand. If you'd prefer to show them off, you can turn the gliding off if you want. The accompanying back attachment equips you with 2 powerful pillars that can control and manipulate lightning. They will periodically release their energy in a powerful blast while in town, and hover in a circle around you, arcing lightning between them forming a barrier of energy. Replace the appearance of any bow with the Farad'n's Glory skin. Or replace the appearance of a spear with the Tyranny's End spear skin. This spear skin can be applied to staves and war staves in Path of Exile 1. If you want to truly show your worth as a King of the Farad'n, then you definitely need your trusty, moving, entire city fortress known as the Dreadnought to travel across the Vasteri Plains. In Path of Exile you can decorate your hideout however you like, and it's no exception here. It comes with a variety of thematic elements to use, or use decorations from elsewhere in the game. Additionally, you will get the Deshret's Blessing level up effect. king of the Faradin Kiwi pet, and last but not least, a statue depicting the Vile Oversoul from Path of Exile 1. For those who don't know how supporter packs work, each pack comes with all of the cosmetics from the previous tier, so you'll get all the items from the Lord of Ogham supporter pack as well. The Thaumaturge of the Vile supporter pack features an armor set and back attachment themed around the Vile and their pursuit of science and progress. You can find the Soul Core weapon effect in this pack, which causes thaumaturgic energy harnessed from sacrifice to spill from your weapon. This pack also contains Doryani's Idol. It replaces the default appearance of any foci to an ancient relic once used by Doryani, and this can be applied to shields in Path of Exile 1. That's not the only Vile weapon you'll find. It also contains the Wand of the Thaumaturge skin, and the Royal Sacrifice Dagger skin. You wouldn't think to put sacrificial gems on a Kiwi, but the Vile did. Thaumaturge of the Vile supporters will receive the Thaumaturge of the Vile Kiwi pet, and the Statue of Dominus. This is also the first pack in the series with a physical item. When purchasing this pack, you'll receive a Path of Exile 2 logo t-shirt, but if you don't want one, you can opt out and return for additional points to spend in the store. Becoming a Warlord of the Karui supporter will grant you an armor set and back attachment adorned in jade carvings and iridescent feathers resembling Pawa, enough to even impress the ancestral gods, specifically Tukohama, the Karui god of war. Overkill, you say? I think the Karui people would disagree. Why not drop a gigantic totem on rare enemies you slay to crush them to a pulp? Replace your crafting bench in your hideout with the Ancestral Canoe crafting bench, where Ancestral Chief Mata will summon a giant canoe manned by Karui warriors to aid in your crafting desires.
We must all start somewhere.
You'll also get a pair of weapon skins. Equip Akoya's Felling Axe skin to your one-hand or two-handed axes, or Tukohama's Crusher to your one-handed or two-handed maces. A true Karui warlord is always accompanied by their trusty Kiwi. Equipped with armor and harnessing ancestral magic, they make the perfect sidekick. Once one of the most feared beings in Rayclast, Malachi was slain by a powerful exile. May the statue commemorate the virtue of exiles past, present, and of the future. Of course, it's not all about dressing up in game. You'll want to look good in real life too. By becoming a Warlord of the Karui supporter, you'll also get a Path of Exile 2 hoodie. Our final tier of supporter pack in this series is the Liberator of Rayclast supporter pack. The Liberator of Rayclast armor set and back attachment come made with the finest materials in Rayclast, and shattered glass mosaics suspended in divine power. Set up your base of operations in the Beacon of Salvation hideout. Why restrict yourself to just one island when you can liberate more? The Beacon of Salvation hideout comes equipped with your own collection of small islands and personal operators of boats that you can use to row between them. Just walk to the piers, click a boat to enter and navigate as you choose. Decorate each island as you see fit to best represent your well-earned hideout. Everyone in your hideout can use their own boat. Why not have some races? You can also get the Window to Twilight portal effect, a beautiful mosaic piece of art that shatters and reveals a gateway to your desired destination as you approach it. As you walk away, the glass magically reforms back to its original form. Rule in style with the Throne of the Ruler map device. Sure, this map device can create portals to in-game maps, but it also comes with a throne you can sit on to oversee your growing kingdom. Look down on the plebeians running your maps. Being the Liberator, though, is not just about sitting on your throne all day. If you do decide to join the fight yourself, you can leave a High Priest in charge as your second in command. Liberator of Rayclast supporters will also get a set of varied weapon skins. The Light of Divinity Scepter skin, the Deliverance Crossbow skin, the Justice Flail skin, and the Redemption Shield skin. Once again, you'll have an accompanying Kiwi, and of course a statue depicting one of the most iconic events in Rayclast's history, the battle between a powerful exile and Kitava, the Insatiable. With the help of two deities, Sin and Innocence, the exile was able to defeat him once and for all. This supporter pack also contains the Path of Exile 2 art book. This 215-page full-color art book includes a huge amount of amazing concept art and lore produced during the long and exciting journey of Path of Exile 2's development. And finally, Path of Exile has a tradition of letting the community participate in designing game features. For Path of Exile 2, we'll be adding the Twilight Order foil reliquary. By becoming a Liberator of Ray class supporter, once Path of Exile 2 is released, you will be able to select any unique item you have found and be able to drop it from the reliquary. Once players have submitted their items, keys to the reliquary will start dropping, and other players will be able to find foil versions of uniques that you have submitted along with a message for the lucky player. The more players submit the same unique, the more chances there will be for the reliquary to drop them, so choose wisely. Now almost all of these items are available to use in PoE 1 right now. There are a few exceptions where the item class clearly doesn't exist, such as crossbows or flails, and there are also a few microtransactions on weapon types that are unavailable in PoE 2 at the start of early access. Once classes that use those weapon types are added, those microtransactions will be available to use. If you can't decide which supporter pack to choose yet, you can always start with the early access supporter pack that just includes a key and some points to spend in the store. Then you can upgrade to any of the following tiers at a later date. These supporter packs will be available for purchase.